Scene script. Have you ever heard of the Trinitarios gang, a group known for their unwavering adherence to their rulebook and swift, severe punishment for those who cross their path? The Trinitarios trace their roots back to a time of duress and survival. The year was 1993, and two Dominicans, Leonidas Sierra and Julio Marin, found themselves jailed on separate murder charges on Rikers Island. Known on the streets as Unito and Caballo, they were harassed by other gangs, and in response, they founded the Trinitarios, their primary goal being protection within the prison walls. But the Trinitarios evolved into more than just a group seeking protection. They became a force to reckon with, a ruthless and organised gang, spreading their influence beyond the prison walls and into the streets of New York. From their humble beginnings, in the Marcy houses in Brooklyn, they expanded their reach to Upper Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens and Long Island, and even to places like Rhode Island, Florida and Tennessee. The Trinitarios adopted the motto of their home country, the Dominican Republic, Dios, Patria y Libertad, which translates as God, Homeland and Liberty. This motto speaks volumes about their deep roots and their fierce pride in their origins. But don't let the noble words fool you. Their operations were anything but noble. They became adept drug dealers, and their weapon of choice was the machete, a tool that symbolises their ruthlessness and their departure from the norms of other gangs. What sets the Trinitarios apart is their strict adherence to a complex set of rules. They functioned more like an organisation than a typical gang. No new group or set could be formed without being sanctioned. Members had to follow a strict chain of command, meetings were held and bylaws were upheld, and discipline was issued with scrupulous regularity. The Trinitarios were not just a gang, they were an organisation with a strict chain of command and ruthless enforcement of their rules. This was their way of life, a life that they chose, and a life that they enforced with an iron fist. The Trinitarios are known for their brutal tactics, using machetes over guns and punishing those who disrespect them with a swarm of armed members. The Trinitarios' preference for machetes over firearms is a chilling testament to their ruthless nature. Unlike a gunshot, a machete leaves a victim with a slow, agonizing wound, a clear message to anyone who dares cross their path. But the brutality doesn't end there. Those unlucky enough to disrespect the Trinitarios face a terrifying form of punishment. A crowd of Trinitarios, armed with their weapon of choice, hunt down the offender, slashing and stabbing them multiple times. This brutal spectacle serves as a stark reminder of the gang's power and willingness to enforce their rules with deadly force. One particularly horrifying case that highlights the Trinitarios' brutal tactics is the story of Lisandro. Unlike other victims who had engaged in quarrels with the gang, Lisandro was a simple case of mistaken identity. His killers thought he was a member of a rival crew. The night before his death, Lisandro had a run-in with Trinitarios, who were cruising his neighborhood in cars, and he told a friend they seemed to take him for a gang member. The brutal murder of this innocent teenager, captured on a security camera and shared across the internet, sparked outrage and empathy from politicians, police officials and celebrities. The tragic fate of Lisandro, a boyish teenager dragged from a bodega and hacked to death, sent shockwaves throughout New York City. This brutal act was a chilling reminder of the Trinitarios' ruthless tactics and the terror they instill in their communities. The Trinitarios' tactics are not only brutal, but they are also effective in maintaining control and instilling fear. Their preference for machetes, their swarm-like attacks, and their willingness to punish even those mistakenly identified as enemies all contribute to the fear and respect they command. With their brutal tactics and severe punishments, the Trinitarios instilled fear in those around them. From the Marcy houses in Brooklyn, the Trinitarios spread their influence across New York and beyond, reaching as far as Rhode Island, Florida, Tennessee, and even Spain. This gang, founded by two Dominicans known as Junito and Caballo in the early 90s, was initially formed for protection inside jails. But it quickly grew its roots outside prison walls and onto the streets of New York, starting from the Marcy houses in Brooklyn. From there, the Trinitarios' reach expanded over the years to Upper Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, and Long Island. Their expansion wasn't random or chaotic. It was calculated, strategic, and systematic. They became particularly adept at drug dealing, proving to be savvy businessmen in the murky world of illicit substances. But it wasn't just their business acumen that fueled their growth. Their reputation for ruthlessness also played a part. Preferring machetes over guns, the Trinitarios became known for their brutality, even by the standards of rival gangs like the Bloods, Crips, and Latin Kings. Their violent tactics, including hunting down and swarming their victims, positioned them as a formidable gang, one that was not to be taken lightly. One of the most notable instances of their expansion was the takeover of Rhode Island. In a move that stunned law enforcement and rival gangs alike, the Trinitarios successfully established a stronghold in the northeastern state. Their ruthless tactics and business savvy allowed them to infiltrate and take control, further cementing their status as a powerful gang. This expansion didn't come without its challenges. As their influence grew, so did their notoriety. Law enforcement agencies across the East Coast and beyond started to take notice, leading to increased scrutiny and increased pressure on the gang. But despite these challenges, the Trinitarios continued to grow, adapt, and thrive. With their expansion, the Trinitarios' influence and notoriety grew, making them a force to be reckoned with. Their story is a chilling reminder of the power of organized crime and the devastating impact it can have on communities. The Trinitarios were not just a gang, they were a highly organized group with a strict chain of command and regular meetings. The Trinitarios, unlike many other street gangs, had an impressively structured organization. They had a clear hierarchy, a chain of command that was strictly adhered to. Each member knew their role and their rank, and they respected the authority of those above them. This hierarchy was not just for show, it was critical to their operations and their survival. It ensured order, discipline, and unity, elements that were essential for their strength and longevity. In addition to their structured hierarchy, the Trinitarios also held regular meetings. These were not casual get-togethers, but rather formal gatherings where serious matters were discussed and decisions were made. They upheld their bylaws with a scrupulous regularity, ensuring that every member understood and abided by them. These bylaws governed everything from their operations to their behavior towards each other and towards outsiders. Violations were not taken lightly. Discipline was swift and severe, keeping members in line and maintaining the integrity of the gang. But the Trinitarios were not just about business and discipline. They also had a strong sense of brotherhood. They saw each other as family, a bond that was often stronger than those with their actual families. This sense of brotherhood was a powerful motivator, driving them to protect each other and their collective interests at all costs. Their funds were used for a wide range of purposes, from bail and weapons to parties and drugs. They even used their funds for everyday items like diapers, showing their commitment to supporting each other in all aspects of life. This was not just a gang, it was a community, a brotherhood. The Trinitarios' organization and structure set them apart from other gangs, making them a unique and formidable group. Their strict chain of command, their regular meetings, their enforcement of bylaws, their sense of brotherhood, and their use of funds all contributed to their strength and success. They were not just a gang, they were a well-oiled machine, a tightly knit community, a force to be reckoned with. Today, the Trinitarios have offshoots across the eastern seaboard and abroad, maintaining their strict rules and ruthless tactics. The Trinitarios are no longer merely a fixture on the streets of New York. Their influence has spread far and wide, with offshoots found in places like Rhode Island, Florida, and Tennessee. Even overseas, their presence is felt, with factions found in countries such as Spain. The gang's continued expansion is testament to its adaptability and resilience. Despite numerous crackdowns and the incarceration of key members, the Trinitarios continue to grow. This expansion is a testament to their organizational structure, which ensures continuity of leadership and enforcement of rules, even in the face of external pressures. Interestingly, their expansion is not driven by reckless recruitment, but by a carefully managed process. New groups, or sets, can only be formed with sanction, ensuring that the Trinitarios' core values and rules are upheld across the board. This strict adherence to their original rules is a key factor in the gang's continued strength and influence. The Trinitarios' reputation for brutality remains undiminished. They are known for their swift and severe punishment of anyone who disrespects them, wielding machetes and knives with a chilling ruthlessness. This reputation, coupled with their strict code of conduct, makes them a formidable force in the underworld. The Trinitarios are more than just a gang. They're a complex organization with a hierarchy, a set of bylaws, and a strict chain of command. They hold regular meetings, uphold discipline with scrupulous regularity, and even have a prayer ritual, reflecting a sense of brotherhood amongst members. Despite their criminal activities, the Trinitarios provide a sense of belonging and identity to their members. This, coupled with their organizational strength and ruthless tactics, makes them a force to be reckoned with. As we've seen, the Trinitarios are not just a gang. They're an organization with a strict code of conduct, a wide reach, and a chilling reputation for brutality.